Hello. All right. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we
Yep.
can.
All right. Okay. Well, welcome everyone. Glad to have you with us today. Um, what we want to do is actually have a good live session to give you some transparency about what's going on with the Sweet Laser X1, the shipment. The goal is to provide you as much clarification and transparency for you. And we know there's lots of conflicting information. We want to ensure that you get the information you need to be well aware of the status. And, majority of you, the plan is to get the device into your hands as soon as possible. So I'd like to introduce our speakers who are going to address our 0x1 customers. Lola, who's Miston Commerce and Consumer Product Manager at Miston Labs, and of course Frank, who is the CTO of Playtron. Lola and Frank, can you briefly just introduce yourselves or anyone in the community who may not be familiar with you?
Yeah, sure. I'll kick off. Hi everyone. I work in Adeniyi's team here at Miston. My job and my team's job is to basically look after all the products that touch on a consumer experience. So we own a wallet, we are supporting with name service, we are working on things like Enoki and the features that enable apps to access users. So we hold a high user experience bar. We try and think about what makes applications successful, and then we try and implement those things. And I have also been helping to execute some of the capabilities and features to support the Playtron relationship, including the Playtron wallet, and also the fulfillment flows for the SweetPlay 0x1.
Frank?
Hi, yes, I'm Franck de Girolami. Basically, I'm the CTO co-founder of Playtron. I'm in charge of everything tech and product at Playtron. And, we've been working on Game OS for the past 2.5 years, and I've been, coordinating with Lola with, for all the integration with the full SweetPlay device and launch of the SweetPlay device.
Awesome. Okay. Well, next up, look, in the spirit of transparency, I'd like to address our customers, the concerns they have about shipping and delivery. Lola, what do you say to customers who expected the devices before the end of August and now we're in November?
Yeah, well, first of all, we are really sorry that you don't have these devices. I will break down the series of things that have gotten in our way and have affected our ability to ship the devices out. Essentially, I think everybody remembers when we launched this last year, we kicked it off as a pre-order. The reason we kicked it off as a pre-order is we had not manufactured the device yet. So we were working with our manufacturing partner, we were designing, and as a kind of an innovative opportunity in collaboration with Playtron, we wanted the pre-orders to kind of confirm demand. And so the pre-orders were quite key to paying for manufacturing. This meant that we had to get a certain amount of pre-orders in before we had the money to pay for the devices to be made. And we did send an email out and letting people know we were very transparent on costs. The device cost us around about $580 to make. So we had to cover this cost up front to get manufacturing going. That has meant that manufacturing is ongoing and we are just waiting for the final deliveries of these devices. So it takes a while to manufacture 10,000 new pieces of hardware, do all of the quality and the Q&A. When we started receiving the devices in July, this is when we launched fulfillment. And we built an experience. People will remember when they pre-ordered, they did not give us their names and their addresses. And this is important because we took payment in crypto and we kind of stayed true to our on-chain home. However, in order to deliver your devices to you, we need your home addresses, we need your names. And so for the 118 countries that we are shipping to, we have found ourselves, a software company, dealing with every version of customs and duties and requirements problem you can imagine that exists in the world. And we are Miston Labs. We're actually a small team. We're not Shopify, although we're using Shopify. We're not Walmart. We're not Nintendo. We're not these big experienced hardware and kind of retail companies. We are coming across a number of issues and questions and challenges for the first time. And unfortunately, I think some of our pre-orders also, people maybe thought, hey, I don't want to dox myself. So they gave us like fake names and we had to get the real names because we can't ship your device to you without ID, or they were getting emails from UPS or DHL and they weren't responding because they were worried that they were being scammed. And all of these things combined to mean that as we started to ship, everything just went really, really, really slowly. And so we've been working with our fulfillment partner and the manufacturer to get the devices in, to get the information cleaned up, so actually make sure that we know what's what. And we have tried to solve the duties problem. So for everybody who kind of submitted their information and devices were shipped before, you were being contacted by DHL or FedEx or UPS to pay duties and taxes. We have now changed this and we'll be launching a new version of the process where we will collect that for you, and that will simplify whether or not you want to pay that. It's worth noting, because people have flagged, the device is $5.99. Why would you pay extra duties and taxes on top? People don't feel like they had to pay that for other blockchains, phones, or for a Nintendo DS and so forth. Based on the cost of the device, we sold it at $5.99. Shipping in most cases is around $40 to $50 per device. So already we are subsidizing getting these devices in people's hands. We are also subsidizing the cases. We are paying for the cases. We're making sure cases get into people's hands. And we're trying to minimize all of the issues that come along the way. And that also is cost that we are covering ourselves. Most people do pay taxes and duties in everything that they buy, even from Walmart, even from Nintendo. They just don't notice it often. And I can understand the questions around the price comparison. But when you're creating something for the first time, and we only make 10,000, you don't have the benefit of producing it in the millions, so you can't make it cheaper. And when you can make it cheaper, and when you've got established supply lines and established vendors, and you have a whole team of experts who've been doing this for years, you can remove all of the issues and the problems. So all of that is to say, we are definitely learning a lot of really hard lessons about how hard it is to move physical hardware across different countries. We are learning some difficult lessons about mistakes that, maybe things we could have seen, like, as we said, Vietnam. It is highly unfortunate, but we cannot get past the Vietnamese authorities on accepting our hardware device in the country as it is right now. We know some people have had them delivered. We are also aware some people have been asked to pay unofficial costs. We cannot protect our buyers by telling them what those costs are, or even giving them receipts for it, or guaranteeing it. And so we can't safely deliver the devices there. And that's a shame that we didn't know that up front. But yeah, we are trying to fix every problem we're identifying, and we're trying to fix it as quickly as possible. My hope is everyone will have their devices by the end of the year. And we will continue to update people, and we continue to provide them with some clarity. If people don't want them anymore, they can get refunds, and we're also trying to make refunds as easy as possible. They haven't been easy because we took payment in crypto, because we allowed you to pay in SWI and ETH and SOL and USDC, and actually that makes it very complicated to pay you back. We've tried to simplify that, and so hopefully all of these things will make things speed up. And we do really apologize for the lack of speedy delivery and what may feel like us not being able to communicate this very well. We have been in deep problem solving mode across all of it.
So if I understand correctly, right, like as of November this year, the deliveries are pretty much taking about 2 weeks once taxes and duties are paid.
Yes.
So you expect the SWI Play cases to be shipped in the next few weeks.
Yes.
Basically, if you haven't received a device, your case is going to be shipped out soon as well, right?
Yes.
Let's talk a bit about Vietnam, right? Like, so what is this? So we couldn't ship to Vietnam. Why? And different from other countries. Why is Vietnam very different from other countries?
Yeah, so actually every single country has a different set of requirements that we found unique in some cases, right? Like the EU has one set of requirements that's nice and easy, but even inside the EU, a bunch of different countries have different requirements. Like we found interesting things happening in Spain with additional information we were asked to provide for any orders in Spain, or extra information for orders to Greece. What happened with Vietnam is the authorities asked a question about what is this device for? And when we tried to clarify with them, they asked about the crypto wallet side. And we uncovered a deep concern in Vietnamese government. The gambling is something that they're very worried about and is very significantly kind of controlled. And they are very suspicious that crypto activity is being used to bypass gambling laws. And because we do not have a Vietnamese company, Mr. Labs is not based in Vietnam, and there was a huge amount of process, and I mean process could be years, for us to prove that these devices were not focused on gambling or designed for gambling. we realized it was impossible to guarantee that people could receive their devices. Some people have received their devices in Vietnam that have been shipped there. The majority, and the hundreds, are stuck in customs. We are trying to get them back. Some of them they're threatening to destroy. And so we are not able to safely keep shipping devices into Vietnam at this point. We're also not in a position to email everyone in Vietnam and say, hey, change countries, because that's kind of doing the thing that the government doesn't want us to do, which is encouraging their citizens to participate in something they're suspicious of. So we are offering refunds to everyone in Vietnam who has ordered a device, not received one. And again, I really wish we could ship them there, but that's an example of like a country requirement we just couldn't get past in a decent timeline.
Thanks, Lola. So Franck, over to you, right? Like, we know there's some questions why some games aren't playable right away. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, so there's a number of games that use anti-cheat technologies. A lot of the big multiplayer games like Fortnite, some of the Call of Duty games, and these anti-cheat technologies detect that you're trying to run the game on Linux and basically shut you down, right? And why do we do that? Because on Linux, you can actually build a custom OS that allows you to cheat. So they're suspicious of that, and that's a problem also on SteamOS. And we've built a technology to allow these anti-cheat companies and these game companies to support us specifically because we're a very secure system. You can make sure we can make sure that it's running a genuine version of Pledtron, but obviously it takes time to get these things approved by these companies, and so this can take some time. So this is one category of games. It's actually just a few hundred games that we mark as unsupported in the OS, but a lot of the multiplayer games are part of this. Now, the entire library that we cover between Steam, Epic, and GOG is about 110,000 games. We haven't played them all. We only have so much time. We've played a lot of them. We've tested thousands here and there. And from what we've seen, we have about 2/3 of the games that run right off the bat. So, we have this system right now where we show that the game is compatible. And that means that 90% of the time the game has run, right? And that therefore, this is compatible. If we see the game has run less than 30% of the time, we mark it as not working. This game doesn't seem to be working. And we do that, very specifically for the free play. And, there are issues, for example, some games crash on exit, and like Stardew Valley, for example, is an example that we've been dealing with recently. It crashes on exit, and therefore it reports that it doesn't work, but actually it does work. So we're addressing some of these, right? But I just want to reinforce that all these games that show as unknown, you roughly have a 60. If you install them and download them and try them, you have a 60 to 70% chance that they're actually going to work just fine.
Got it.
Obviously, some games are PC games that require a mouse and a keyboard. So to play on a handheld, if you find an old copy of Command & Conquer, for example, or Warcraft 3, it might be difficult to play on a handheld. And that's true for any handheld, and there's nothing we can do there. We have a tool set that allows you to create input configs for certain games, so you can map keys to you can map the joysticks and the buttons to actual keys in the game. You can find that information on our website in the contribute section. It's a tool called GameLab. You can install it on Mac, Windows, and Linux machines. Connect to your 3-play device and actually start creating configs. Anyways, this 30 to 35% of games that don't work, usually it's because we need dependencies. And so we also have in GameLab, we have this thing called launch configs, where you can, we've been creating launch configs to support this game. It's mostly adding Windows dependencies, because what we're doing here is running Windows games on the Linux distribution, right? Same thing as Steam. So, it works for most games, but a lot of games are, over the years, over the months and years, we're going to be supporting everything. But it's, like I said, it's 110,000 games.
Yeah.
We don't own them all, and we haven't tested them all. That's really,
Can I add something to that? Because I think what people may not, some people may know, games take years to develop. And we, from the beginning of SWE, we spent a lot of time talking to gaming teams, gaming developers, gaming platforms. And there have been a ton of common themes that came through, which led us to this collaboration with Pledtron. And that is that existing gaming stacks do not support Web3 assets particularly well. In fact, they're incredibly opinionated and almost against some of the opportunities that both gamers and game developers want to access on gaming device. I think we can talk about, what happened recently with Valve was a great example of like not caring about ownership and not caring about gamers' investment, both in terms of time and money in a gaming ecosystem. So, but the common feedback we had is, if I, a game developer, commit to Web3 and I commit to building in this stack, where do I get distribution from? Where do I put my games in front of people if these established platforms don't support me? And so we had to take a punt that we're going to do something that doesn't exist in the market. We're going to partner with an innovative team, an innovative OS that is willing to open things up. And it has changed the conversations we are having with gaming developers. It has brought bigger games to the table.
Yeah.
It has brought more interesting opportunities for SWE to the table. And I think for the gamers who really care about gaming experience and this intersection of Web3, the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to be the first with this device to experience things that don't necessarily come for free on other gaming devices and platforms. And to, I think, Playtron's credit, it's kind of crazy to build an OS from scratch, right? But if you do it and you do it right, you are also creating new opportunities that the kind of legacy stack doesn't give you. And I do think, like, for people who care about, like, what does it mean to own this NFT and like when are the drops coming? I do think that kind of degen culture, or the sort of crypto native culture plus gaming, is a massive opportunity space. And we are definitely having better conversations. So for people who own this device and you're like, why do I own it? We were never trying to compete with Nintendo DS, right? We were trying to build the next generation after that. They've already decided what that platform was and wasn't going to do 5 years ago. We're working with people who are doing the next iteration. And so I think this device will be important in the broader narrative about where gaming's going. And I think people who choose to keep their order and wait to receive their device, as more games become available, as more people design to be Game OS ready first, I think a lot of really cool things are going to happen. And owners, people with a Playtron device, people with Playtron wallets, people who are invested in Game OS are going to enjoy being a part of that process.
Absolutely. And look, we're looking forward to being able to share more news about games becoming available on the device. Lola, on the same topic, can you give some insight into games that are powered by SWE that are coming to the OX1?
Yeah, so we've already had playtests with the Society game, which, again, Society, it's consistently had such incredible feedback. This isn't a AAA game. It's one of the most anticipated games in the Epic Play Store, and it's launching worldwide, always on, always available later this month. That is the first of its class. It's got a really great synergy between being like a PvP game, but also having this kind of business model with like owning businesses and different types of companies in the game that make the kind of the EXO token also a really key part of the gameplay experience. So you can play it purely with the Web 2 mindset on the handheld, and you don't have to interact with the Web 3. But if you really enjoy that intersection with Web 3, it's all kind of just works perfectly. And with the SWE Play screen, it's a beautiful playing experience. We've also got Super Bean, which is coming in January. We've got Warped. We've got OG builders on SWE Panzer Dogs, who are also releasing their SWE Play version. And then we have a bunch of additional people who I can't name, who are also building SWE Play versions of existing games, and also building new games and planning on making them available on the Game OS, both on desktop and on the SWE Play device. So the 0x1, I think, is going to be a great place to experience lots of really interesting new games. And I think similar to the bar being set by Society, which again will be available later this month, I think a lot of people are going to enjoy the gameplay experience on the 0x1 and also have a really great time intersecting their Web3 assets in that gameplay, both on the device and outside the device.
I know I'm certainly looking forward to Society finally going live this month. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Web3 games are finally coming. Great thing we can play Web2 games now, but what we really want to see is a world of many Web3 games who are taking full advantage of the wallet feature, paying with stable coins, paying with crypto, trading, all the really cool DGen stuff that everyone wants to be able to do on a device. Random question now, Frank, put you on the spot. Are we going to have a web browser for the Play OS at some point?
Yeah, interesting question. It's actually, yes, it's not necessarily one of the features of it was announced today, but yes, we're definitely going to have one. Coming in a soonish. And other apps. But yeah, definitely,
Awesome.
it's coming.
Awesome. All right, Lola. Back to a serious question. Like, what do you say to customers concerned about high import duties or tax in other countries as well?
Yeah, I mean, we've estimated, so we did some analysis of people who've already received their device. Import duties are on average working out to be 26% of the device. So that includes any local taxes. So things like VAT is added on top of import duties. And then sometimes there are additional fees for, we had to look at this, so we're going to charge you, I don't know, $10 or whatever. That is in line with what these fees look like in most countries. So across the EU, it's between 20 and 25%. In the US, it's pretty much 20%. There are a few countries where we've identified significant issues. So I'll tell you the story of Brazil. Based on our product category, Brazil's tax rate should be about 37%. It's known to have a very, very high tax rate for imports. However, because we shipped the devices to Brazil using an express delivery method, once it was available, as by air, and with insurance, because we wanted to make sure it arrived, as opposed to using local Brazil post, it happened to trigger this random automatic rule where the default tax rate would be 60%, and then all of the added fees on top would mean that you were paying 100% of the device cost to receive it. And we felt that this wasn't acceptable. So we have been giving people money back. If you are in Brazil and you've ordered your device and you've had to pay the same amount of money again to receive it, we will compensate you and bring your cost outlay down to 37%, which is what we expected. Where this has also happened, we are doing this in India, we are doing this in Sri Lanka. We found that this is happening to some people in Mexico. And then in the US, there have definitely been mistakes by customs. Because of all of the tariff stuff that was going on, some customs teams who have assessed the device into certain states have accidentally applied levies in the 40 and 50% based on maybe public statements. But based on the rules that were written down in customs, those were wrong. And so we've also been compensating or helping to file disputes so that people don't have to pay that amount of money. One big thing we have changed for everybody who hasn't yet received their device, and the device hasn't been shipped, so just to clarify that, is we will now be sending you a payment link up front. So you'll know exactly what those customs fees are going to be. We've already reviewed this, so if we see the numbers coming out super crazy, we're reducing the number and we're subsidizing it. We will be covering that cost for you. So you are seeing a true cost to receive your device in your country, and we are trying to keep it as close to what you would be charged for any other product that you were buying in the same category in your country as possible.
Awesome. One comment from Lionhead: it would be great if some of these games come to SweetPlay are native Sweet games developed by community members. An example will be Potato Finance. Yes, those games are certainly coming.
Yeah, I mean, look, the development work is there. Panda Dogs, the team there, is a great example. We have been working with them all along. They've been giving us feedback on the game OS. They have been creating a version of their game for the SweetPlay. The game OS is open source. It's available from the Playtron website. We encourage builders to go get the kit, go start building with it, give us feedback, help us help you. We can share requirements. You have to be available on the Epic Game Store, and then you will be able to get your device on the SweetPlay. So we are definitely working with homegrown teams, and we do encourage them to kind of put the groundwork in and with our support, and we can get more games available on the device.
So Lola, how should customers contact 0x1 support?
0x1 support is available via Discord. So the Mist & Labs Discord right now, there is an active team. They are responding publicly. There is an FAQ. They are also responding via DMs. Please, 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 please be careful. All of our teams are named and known. Do not let random people on Discord convince you that they work for Mist & Labs. Absolutely no one is doing support via X. So there are no X accounts that are going to contact you via a message or a DM from Mist. Do not follow that. But you can also, if you need to escalate specific issues with your personal details, to the support@sweetplay0x1.com. I do want to answer the question of when will you get your refunds? We are now overhauling the refunds process. So where people have requested refunds, we were originally paying them back in original currency that they paid in. We are now paying everybody back refunds in USDC. So we will give you exactly that day's value of $599, which is what you paid at the time for the device. And we will be doing that into Playtron wallets. And we hope to expedite that process. I think people will start seeing refunds coming through within the next week into their Playtron wallet, where they can obviously do whatever they'd like with that and send it wherever is necessary.
Thanks, Lola. So Franck, how can customers contact Playtron or stay in touch with Playtron?
Yeah, so if you go to our website, playtron.one, at the bottom, you will find a link to our Discord. And that's, a lot of people have been coming to our Discord asking questions. You can also, once again, at the bottom of our website, find a link to find a ticket or to request a feature that takes you to our Jira, or public Jira, where you can create a ticket and you can attach, screenshots. And, for example, internally, we take a lot of screenshots with our phones. There's something wrong, then you can attach that. So these are the two main ways to do that.
Okay.
And if you have the specific issues, which hopefully by now we've addressed all of them, but some people are having issues updating the OS and downloading dependencies early on. There's a combination of buttons to generate a system report that we can look at. It's more of a one-on-one type of collaboration, but we have some tools built in that help us diagnose some issues that you may have. So any issues like that where you cannot boot the device or the device on update, definitely reach out on our Discord, and one of our guys will handle that.
Yeah, one thing I do want to say is, as a thank you to the community, we will be doing a free airdrop to.
Adeniyi, you're not supposed to say.
Anyway, I'm not going to say when, but it will happen. But thank you for all the support that you guys have for the Sweet community. No, seriously, Sweet will not be what it is, and people have taken a bet on the work we do here, where we are very bold. We like to do crazy things, but we also think we're trying to change the world here, and it means sometimes you make big bets. And for supporting us, we also want to support you in what you do for us too. So beyond that as well, before we call it quits for the day, anything you want to add, Lola? Anything you want to add, Franck? Maybe start with Lola. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, no, I do just want to thank people for sticking with us. I will say, with the number of refunds that we've had, there are a lot of devices left over. And so we are also going to, and we know that there's some hardcore serious gamers who are committed, who wanted to get their hands on a device, because there are only 10,000 of them available. So we will be providing avenues for people who do want to buy the device. They'll get an NFT with it. And you can join and start playing with us and kind of be part of this journey to change the way the gaming industry thinks about Web3 and gaming going together. So yeah, we'll share more details on that in a few weeks.
Franck, anything? Yeah, so, first I would recommend that everyone make sure you always have the latest OS update. Sometimes we have a required update, so you will be required to update, but still it's better to have the latest. You can go in your settings, and you can see there's an update available there. Recently we have an update that turned on auto TDP, which existed before. It was turned off by default because we were not confident about that feature. But we've seen the average time that you can go on battery go from 1.5 hours to 4 to 5 hours, depending on the use case. Obviously, if you run a game that consumes a lot of power, it will consume a lot of power. But when you play like Stardew Valley or something like this, you should be able to play much longer without having to tweak anything manually. I can maybe talk a little bit about upcoming features.
Yeah, let's hear
it. So one feature is coming out soon. Hopefully, next big release at the end of this month is the audio bridge. So basically, you're going to be able to pair your Sweet Play to your Windows or machine or Mac or iPhone or Android phone to be used as a headset. So that means you can start a Discord voice channel on one of your devices and actually listen and speak on your Playtron device, and do the same thing with Spotify if you want to be playing music in the game while you're playing, things like that, right? So it's going to open up a whole bunch of interesting capabilities there. And we're going to take that feature a little bit further later on. But right now, we're just focusing on the audio. We're going to be adding trailers and screenshots. Right now we just have one image per game, so we're going to be adding trailers. I think it's going to be nice to have that. We're working on achievements pop-up, so I want to make sure everybody knows if you're playing a game on Steam, Epic, and GOG, you are getting the achievements. The only thing you're not getting right now is the pop-up. So don't fear. Have no fear. You can play. You'll get your achievements. So we're going to be adding the pop-up very, very soon. We're looking into ways to improve login, passwordless login. We're going to probably be adding. We're going to be adding Google login pretty soon to help log into Playtron, but also log into services like GOG and Epic. We're designing the feature right now. It should ship within the next few releases. And yes, we're aware you can take screenshots and do nothing with them. So we're working on something for that as well. It's a feature that we wanted to have for launch that didn't unfortunately make it all the way. Right now you can do it, but you have to SSH into your device and grab your screenshots. It's obviously not a great user experience. We're going to add something to help you get your screenshots out of your device. Yeah, I mean, there's we've built this much of what we want to build, right?
Yeah.
It's already a lot. So there's a huge roadmap. But obviously it's going to take some time to
That's what I love, right? Look, this is when you're building real products, it takes real time and it's real effort to actually get it right. So, for the 10,000 that bought the SweetPlay device, like you're literally, helping us change how gaming is ultimately going to be in the future. So we're taking a big wild ride together, but this is going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to hear about all the amazing features that are going to launch. And also, let's all play together. Society's coming this month. Let's go hard. Let's see who can actually topple the boss. But I think my effectiveness on my work is going to go down significantly once that launches.
Yeah.
Lola, do you want to add something?
No, I saw in the chat someone asked the question, how does the Sui gaming or what we're doing with SweetPlay, the 0x1, how does that compete with like maybe Solana? And I think it's worthwhile reminding folks, Sui ecosystem has been investing in gaming since before it even launched, right? And games take a while to build. Really good games take even longer than you expect. So let our game builders cook. Don't worry. Good stuff is coming. Like the best stuff, honestly, in gaming didn't show up. I don't know how long you folks have been waiting for the next GTA, but these things are not overnight. And I think quality does take time. And again, I want to remind people, like people who have this 0x1 device are investing in that outcome. And I mean that tactically, and I mean for the long time. Like I think a lot of people will see that investment pay dividends over the next few years in gameplay, in being part of like probably the biggest gaming hits that kind of start to shift perception. So let our builders cook. We're coming. Don't worry. We're not watching anyone else. We've been in our own lane for a minute and we're good. Let us cook.
Awesome. So without further ado, folks, honestly, thank you all for joining us today. Our goal here was to provide as much transparency. As mentioned, from November this month, it should take 2 weeks to receive your device once you filled out the form and paid the tariffs that have been requested of you. And the devices, also the pouches, should also be shipping in the next couple of weeks. I'm hoping you can all join me with my 0x1 very, very soon. I'm not holding it to gloat, but like I really, really can't wait that you all join the club of 0x1 holders. Well, thanks very much. Let's keep building.